economics have been really challenging. I mean, this last year, it's kind of no secret, was very challenging for Sesame Workshop. There's a lot of coverage, you know, we had a long-term partnership or distribution deal with Warner, originally HBO, then became Warner Discovery. And at the time we made that, streaming media, there was a lot of investment in streaming, and that's just changed. The media landscape has changed drastically. So while I'm thrilled that we have a partnership with Netflix, with YouTube, with PBS, it's not nearly the economics it was. So we have to produce more efficiently, we have to figure out ways, we had to downsize, we have to work within the economic environment that we're in today, and it's been challenging. However, it's so important that we're wherever children are, and that we are using all of those platforms, because if we can make sure that there's really quality educational content, when we know children are growing up in a digital world, like it or not, if we can be on those platforms where we are, you know, Joan Vance Cooney once said, it's not a question of whether children learn from media, it's what they learn. And we know media can be a powerful tool with proven impact. So our job is to create the most engaging content. We base everything on research, always have. Research in the formative and also in the results. Are we teaching what we set out? Are we having an impact? And that means if we're not constantly evolving and innovating, then we're not going to be successful. Well, listen, I love talking about this because I think it's so important for people to understand literally the greatest return on investment you can have. Whether that's corporate, philanthropic, anywhere, is on reaching children in their critical early years, on early education. And, you know, we started 56 years ago on a hunch that those early years would make a difference, because there was all sorts of research that children were arriving at school without the skills to learn, particularly children in poverty. But today you have the neuroscience. You have all of the research that shows that the first 5 years of life are the most important in a child's brain development. And it's when their brain is most susceptible to their environment, most malleable. So when you're reaching children with quality early education in those early years and engagement with a caring adult, you are literally affecting their brain development. When they don't have that, they're literally it debilitates their ability. So you've got such a return on investment if you're reaching them earlier, building those skills. And I will say there's also not just the neuroscience, but you can look at decades of research by Nobel Prize winning economist James Heckman, where he's done all sorts of research that shows the return on investment is 13% per year on reaching children early. And that's not just in their ability to learn, it's also in their long-term health, their long-term productivity, their economic earnings, not even to mention, you know, the savings to society on reduced crime, incarceration, health costs. So I really believe the most important investment anyone can make, particularly corporations in their future workforce, is to reach children in those critical early years. I've been so impressed, and I'm sure you've seen Paula Kerber, who's been incredible throughout this process. And they are determined to carry on. I think the worry is about more smaller markets and rural markets where there may not be the same ability for philanthropic funding and others to step up. But I am so impressed at how many are stepping up to try to fill that void in terms of funding.